Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Chief. Thanks for your remarks. Spot on. My name is Jimmy Spencer, and I'm a soldier for life. And I'm also the Vice President for Non-Commissioned Officer Soldier Programs for the Braxton chapter of AUSA. Welcome to all of you. Thanks for being here. Our chapter is the voice for the Army and support for the soldiers throughout the state of North Carolina. And we take our mission very, very seriously. We build the bridge that connects the civilian community with the military community, and it makes this Fort Bragg, the center of the universe, an assignment of choice for the soldiers and their family members. A great place to train, a great place to serve, a great place to work, and a great place to raise a family. And we are doubly honored to be able to host the very first Warfighter Summit here at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, in the Fayetteville community. I'm also very honored to introduce our moderator, Command Sergeant Major Retired Troy Welch, a great soldier and an even better friend who will act as your moderator for the Equipping the Future Force. Troy, over to you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Whoa, that was weak. Good morning. We're going to talk about all kinds of good equipment stuff, and you guys got to live it up a little bit. I know we're in a difficult position here. We had to follow the chief, so you guys got to get us motivated here. So good morning. We hope you've enjoyed the Warfighter Symposium thus far. I think the chief did a great job, great comments. I want to welcome you to CMF4, Equipping the Force. Ensuring the force is equipped with capabilities that enhance combat overmatch against near-peer threats, PEO has developed the adaptive squad architecture that enables deliberate delivery of capabilities to the force. Our panel members today are here to discuss their programs that support the ASA. I am honored to introduce our distinguished panel for Contemporary Military Forum 4. So from your right to left, we have Master Sergeant Kaplan. He is originally from Peoria, Arizona. He enlisted in the Army as a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout in September 2004 and completed one station unit training at Fort Knox, Kentucky in January 2005. He assumed the duties and responsibilities as a senior enlisted advisor to the Program Director, Soldier and Squad Integration in March of 2022. Next, we have Sergeant First Class Andrew Wood, was born in Charleston, South Carolina, and raised in Shell Knob, Missouri. He enlisted in the Army on 18 July 2004 and completed Army Basic Combat Training and Individual Training at Fort Benning, Georgia in November 2004. Sergeant Wood assumed the duties as a senior enlisted advisor to the Program Manager, Soldier and Maneuver and Precision Targeting at Fort Belvoir, Virginia on 10 April 2021. Sergeant First Class Tyler Sickles was born and raised in San Diego, California, and he enlisted in the Army in March of 2010, completed Army Basic Combat Training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and advanced individual training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma in September 2010. Sergeant Sickles assumed his duties as Senior Enlisted Advisor for Soldier Survivability, Program Executive Office Soldier at PEO Soldier, Fort Belvoir, on 24 February 2021. We have Master Sergeant Daniel Salcedo. Am I saying that right? All right, good. He's from Waco, Texas, raised in the great state of Texas, and he enlisted in the Army in April of 2000. He also attended one station unit training at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and he graduated in August of 2000. He currently serves as a Senior Enlisted Advisor for Program Manager Soldier Lethality. So welcome, Master Sergeant Salcedo. And we have Sergeant First Class John Sykes. He was born on 27 April 1984 in Clovis, New Mexico, and raised in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He enlisted in the United States Army on 10 June 2002 and attended one station unit training at Fort Benning, Georgia. He currently serves as a Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Ground Soldier Systems. We have Sergeant Major Stephen Brown from Webster, Massachusetts. He joined the Army in July 1992. He completed his initial entry training as an infantryman at Fort Benning, Georgia, and is currently assigned as a senior enlisted leader to the Program Executive Office for Simulation, Training, and Instrumentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our panel. So before I turn this over to the panel members for their opening remarks, we have a short video we'd like to play. So please play the video. Ooh, I want one of them little helicopters. Okay, Sergeant Kaplan, I'm going to turn it over to you to kick it off.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Master Sergeant Joshua Kaplan. I'm one of the senior enlisted advisors out at Program Executive Office Soldier. A little bit about PEO Soldier. PEO Soldier delivers 130 programs of record, including over 250 products and non-programs of record, including individual body armor, helmets, lasers, sensors, and other legacy weapon systems. So the effort that I support directly underneath that PEO Soldier umbrella is a place called Project Director Soldier and Squad Integration, PDS and SI. PDS and SI is the lead systems integrator that works across the close combat integration enterprise to champion innovation and enable integration while rapidly deploying enhanced capability sets to the soldiers on the ground. Simply put, we try to make things work together that should work together, and we refer to that as integration. I'll be followed by Sergeant First Class Andrew Wood.
Before we go to you, Sergeant Wood, if you don't mind,
Sure.
Because the Chief just talked about integration. So, Sergeant Kaplan, can you explain why that is so important?
Yeah, so integration is important because if we don't integrate, life cycle costs go up. And we're not really doing anything to complement the squad in terms of increasing their lethality. And personally, 18 years, not quite as long as General McConville, of my career, I distinctly remember, sitting on OPs and asking myself, why doesn't all this stuff work together the way that it should? And that's kind of what we focus on in the integration department, if you will.
Okay, all right, perfect, thanks.
Hey, good morning. Sergeant First Class Andrew Wood. I'm a senior enlisted advisor in PEO Soldier, where we equipped the soldier with sensors, lasers, night vision, and precision targeting devices that dominate the battlefield to improve lethality. situational awareness and survivability in all operational environments around the world. Some of the equipment that we equip the soldier with that you guys heard about is Family and Weapon Sight Individual, the FWSI, the EVGB, the Advanced Night Vision Goggle, binocular, and the soldier-borne sensor, the little drone helicopters down at the squad level. And then in the future, we've got the Night Vision Device Next goggle that's coming out. I'll be followed by Sergeant Sykes.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Sergeant First Class Tyler Sickles, and I'm the Senior Enlisted Advisor for the Project Manager Soldier Survivability. We develop and field innovate functioning uniforms, individual equipment, and soldier protective systems such as the MSV, the Modular Scalable Vest, which is the newest body armor, and the Integrated Head Protection System, which is the latest helmet that you guys will receive. Through our team, we basically anything that touches a soldier's body comes through our shop, and we field it and test it and send it off. For the, I will now be followed by Master Sergeant Saucedo.
Good afternoon, Master Sergeant Daniel Saucedo. I am the Senior Enlisted Advisor for Project Manager Soldier Lethality, PMSL. PMSL equips soldiers with overmatch capability through crew serve and individual weapons. We support the soldier through development, sustainment, and fielding of small arms weapons, along with its enablers, such as optics, lasers, suppressors, and fire control systems. The fire control systems will help during visibility and low light conditions. We also have the next generation squad weapons, the AR, and the rifle, along with the fire controls, the next-gen fire control system, which will provide the soldier with an overmatch capability for a more lethal tomorrow. I will be followed by Sergeant First Class John Sykes.
Hold on, please. Master Sergeant Saucedo, because you heard the chief earlier. He said next year, right, that they would start fielding the next-gen weapon. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Next gen wrestling, we just, the Lone Star did a protest May 28th. As of July 1st, they withdrew their protest. So right now we are working with industry and Army to develop the fielding date. It's still in motion right now, so can't give you the exact time frame.
Great, thank you.
Good morning, I'm Sergeant First Class John Sykes, Senior Enlisted Advisor for Product Manager, Ground Soldier Systems, PDM GSS. We have an integrated suite of digital situational awareness capabilities allowing for faster and more accurate decisions in the tactical fight. Some of our equipment includes, but not limited to, soldier power. For example, utilizes the conformal wearable battery, the CWB, and Squad Power Manager, SPM, to charge and recharge the radios and capabilities being carried by the soldier, and Net Warrior that currently uses the Galaxy S20 as the end user device, EUD, with a smart docking mount called the Dock Light that has inter-soldier wireless, ISW, to integrate with other items being carried. I'll be followed by Sergeant Major Brown.
Hey, good morning. I'm Sergeant Major Stephen Brown, the Senior Enlisted Advisor for the Program Executive Officer of Simulations, Training, and Instrumentation, or PEO STRI, down in Orlando, Florida. Who here has ever heard of PEO STRI before? Okay, quite a few actually. I expected a little less, but guarantee if you've heard of it or not, we have every soldier or soldier for life in this room has trained on a PEO STRI fielded and maintained training device in their preparation for conducting their wartime duties. So we field and maintain training devices from the individual, like the EST, the Call for Fire Trainer, Miles Gear, all the way through all collective echelons, all the way through Army Service Component Command, to include the Close Combat Tactical Trainer for Tank and Bradley training, the AVCAT for aviation training, and simulations for warfighter and constructive exercises at echelons above Corps.
Perfect, thank you. You mentioned Miles Gear, Sergeant Major. So Miles has been around forever. I mean, I was in the Army in 1977, and Miles came out shortly after. I'm older than Miles. That really doesn't do me any good here. But anyway, the question is, what can we expect to see to replace Miles, and when?
Okay, so currently our signature modernization effort that we're working hand in hand with the cross-functional team of synthetic training environment, part of Army Futures Command, is the synthetic training environment, which is a software-based training tool with hardware peripherals to train from that individual through Army Service Component Command. And the STE Live training system is what we're calling the future of miles. So right now we're conducting soldier touch points and experimentation down at Fort Hood on the replacement for miles. So currently miles, you know, like you said, it's about a 40-year-old system. There's a lot of limitations. A brigade combat team can only employ about 60% of its organic weapon system with how it's configured. So we're getting after replacing that, and with the miles, the laser base, you know, there's no lead angle, there's no leading, there's obscuration will impair it. So we're looking at solutions for that, and we want to get in the hands of soldiers at JRTC by 2024 at least some of those capability gaps right now. We're working. There's an 81 millimeter mortar system to cover, you know, that's the baseline, so we can figure out more indirect fire capabilities. But so 2024, we're looking at getting some of that capability in soldiers' hands. And the plan is, you know, miles took 40 years to get it all out to the field, and there was more different variations that came along. So you can't expect to replace the whole Army's worth of miles in a couple years. So we want to get it out to a CTC, whatever the new replacement is. And, you know, honestly, the old miles, it's getting to its end of useful life. It costs a lot of money to keep replenishing it and repairing it. So if we can get a set out and replace a unit or a CTC's worth of miles and get the rest of that out to the field as spares for home station training and the other CTCs, then we can slowly integrate new miles. And it's just like any other technology. As soon as we get something out, you know, you go to Best Buy, you buy the brand new TV, you get home and plug it in, there's a commercial for a better one. Oh, yeah. So there's going to be more technology coming out. So it's going to be a long process, but hopefully by short answer 2024, we have something in the hands of soldiers.
Good news, good news. I want to get back to integration, Sergeant Kaplan. How can soldiers influence integration at the ground level, and what are some integration efforts that they may see in the future? And I like to ask the entire panel, how does that affect each one of your programs? What does integration do to your programs? We'll start with you, Sergeant Captain, please.
Yeah, I can jump on this, and I'll give you an example of how it relates to Fort Bragg, where we're currently at. Probably about 6 months ago, there were net trainers out training on the soldier-borne sensor, the Black Hornet, as well as, you know, they had their EUDs, you know, that comes with the Net Warrior system. And one of the soldiers in the platoon said, "Hey,
Sergeant, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Can you tell us what Net Warrior is?"
Yeah, I can defer to.
Okay.
So Net Warrior is a unclassified system that works on a secure network. Currently is unable to be jammed or defeated in the battle space, and it provides situational awareness and communication within the ground unit to communicate via text message, see the routes, route planning, etc., and also use your battle planning. You can drop points on the system to identify known or unknown targets or potential areas of interest.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so the Net Warrior is the phone that the soldiers have on their chests for this situation here. Anyways, the SBS, which is the Black Hornet, the drone that the soldiers have, the little helicopter drone, it comes with the screen that's about 4 inches by like 8 inches. And the soldier said, "Well, I have a screen on my chest. Why am I schlepping around this bigger screen when I can just put the feed through my phone?" And they, like soldiers do, problem solved it, figured out a way to Jimmy rig it to make it work. And they communicated that to the net trainers. The net trainers made its way back through the programs and into the soldier integration facility. So that's how soldiers can affect change at the ground level.
Sergeant Wood, any comments?
Yeah, I can. Off of that same initiative that actually came about was with the Black Hornet that came. Not only can it go to the EUD, but with EVGBs, what we're looking at doing right now, and it's not a capability, I want to make sure I don't want to set a precedence, it's not a capability yet, but this is coming through integration. We're looking to put the Black Hornet and being able to pump that feed through the Net Warrior into EVGB. So essentially, I can take the signature management of a soldier and close that EUD back up and pump that feed in. So that is something that's coming through integration.
Yeah, and all this technology that the soldier is receiving is going to be able to fit on their soldier protective system as well as their IHIPs. So it's going to create a more lethal, comfortable soldier.
All right. Mr. Arcee, you got anything to add to that? Are you good?
I'm good.
'Cause I got another one for you.
All right, send it.
Okay. Actually, this is for all of you. But I'm going to start with you. How do you gather and incorporate soldier feedback on the equipment in your portfolio?
Right now on the web, we have a site called Ask the PEO Soldier, or Ask the NCO for the PEO Soldier. And through that site, the questions get sent down to us. And they'll break it down to each level. If it has to do with equipment, weapons, right? So it'll come to me. If it's weapons in general, I'll get the questions, and I have the next generation team, the individual weapons team, the crew serve weapon team that I can shoot this question down to. So we can get the developers, everyone like that, to get the soldier the answer to the feedback they need.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Sergeant Major.
So at PEO STRI, and I know PEO Soldier does this as well, we conduct soldier touch points. So we involve soldiers early in the design and the prototyping process to get their feedback, because like the first sergeant mentioned, you know, who wants to get a piece of equipment without any, and you wonder who designed this, who built this. So we have them come out, we have them test, and it's good for the vendors to hear directly from the soldier's mouth so they can fix it as you go on, and without getting to the end, and it's something soldiers don't want, because you need their buy-in, or else it's going to go sit in a Connex or an arms room or a supply closet somewhere.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Sergeant Wood, this one is to you. How do you plan to operate let me make sure I get this question right. How do you plan to operate in a dismounted environment when GPS is denied or spoofed or jammed?
I mean, I guess for what system would that be? For the EVGB, we won't have any issues getting jammed. The only thing that maybe would be the FWSI for using RTA with the rapid target acquisition from the FWSI, pumping in that feed into the goggle. But right now, with everything we have, there's not going to be. We haven't seen anything that can jam it yet. Not saying that that's impossible, but with what we have, it's. Okay. I don't want. Nothing's impossible, but right now we haven't found.
You haven't seen it anyway.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that answers the question. Master Sergeant Saucedo, this is for you. For the last 20 years, size, weight, and power has been emphasized, yet the next soldier rifle and ammo weight are pounds heavier. Was swap not a consideration?
Could you say that again? Was the weight of the weapon and ammo a consideration?
Yeah, it says the next soldier rifle and ammo weight are pounds heavier. Was swap not a consideration?
It was a consideration. When we look at the ammo, the combat load was 210, and right now the ammo is heavier, so 210 rounds for a soldier is a lot of weight, and the soldiers, we already fight heavy. So mission dependent, the ammo count would probably go with 140 rounds. But with this 140 rounds, you're looking at stopping power at greater distances, so.
Okay, thank you. Sergeant Sykes. What is soldier power?
Soldier power is the initiative to charge, recharge, and have soldier power on the move and consolidate all the different batteries or all the amounts of batteries to pretty much just one, utilizing the conformal wearable battery and use those batteries which last longer than your average batteries that you're using with your radios, and recharge your system, and then use the squad power manager, which is a kit that has various adapters that you can curtail to your mission environment and take out there with you to scavenge power while you're out there to also recharge yourself.
This is all a part of the Net Warrior system?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how does that get serviced?
So the Net Warrior gets power from the CWB and is connected to the radio within the secure system that it provides.
Okay. All right. This is for probably any one of you. How does installation force protection integrate into Army future concepts of technology employment? Sergeant Wood.
What was the question?
How does installation force protection integrate into Army future concepts and technology employment?
I guess that's above my pay grade. I guess I don't know how to answer that question.
I think maybe to jump in, so PEO soldier.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anything the soldier wears or carries is where our programs focus. So that if we're talking installation type stuff, that's a different area for us.
Okay.
Also PEO Stri has a small role in that too. So right now we're working on the squad virtual, or excuse me, the soldier virtual trainer, which is the replacement for the EST and the call for fire trainer. On top of the weapons skill development and the joint fires trainer, it will include a use of force trainer as well. So your don't shoot scenarios that are very effective at gates for FOBs and ECPs.
Yeah. I think they're trying to refer to here is to installation protection, force protection. But I think they get the gist. What is the best way for industry to engage you? So any one of you, what's the best way for industry to engage you?
I could probably jump on this. There's something called the Soldier Enhancement Program. You can Google Soldier Enhancement Program, or you can go www.peosoldier.army.mil. It gives, an industry is currently using this. Anywhere where the Army sees that maybe there's an equipment gap, industry and soldiers have the ability to identify a commercial off-the-shelf item or a government off-the-shelf item, and submit those ideas in a way that will get it rapidly deployed to the force.
Okay, thank you. Sergeant Wood, we have a question here for you. How does the SBS help modernize the soldier? And can you tell the audience what SBS is, please?
Yeah, we've actually talked quite a bit about the SBS this morning, and kind of like what you guys saw in the video, you saw soldiers that was actually simulated inside of a structure, like if they were inside of a house, a mud hut or whatever, and you saw the soldier launch it in there. It's got the capabilities of launching in a structure, outside of a structure. We could go, down to the squad level. You've got about 20 perfect conditions, 25 minutes with giving that squad leader situational awareness on the battlefield that he hasn't had or he or she hasn't had in prior wars, but we will have. And then you've got 2 drones, so theoretically we've got about almost an hour's worth of situational awareness through this drone with nighttime cameras with thermals and a day camera. So it reduces the risk to the soldier by being able to launch that drone at a farther distance and be able to set conditions before they just move on something that they're not aware of.
Does that system integrate with any of your counterparts here?
Say again?
Integrate with everybody on the panel, that system?
Well, the soldier-borne sensor we've talked about before.
The programs, yeah.
Yeah, it goes with the Net Warrior right now because that's where the feed kind of gets pumped into, or it's got a standalone screen that it's got, but that's where it goes. And then we've got pouches right now where it goes on the kits that we have. So we integrate a lot, and it's 100% sits in his office, and I think he owns most of my kits.
All right, good. Sergeant Sickles, here's a question for you. When issued the new MSV, does the soldier get new ballistic plates? Can you explain what an MSV is for those who may not know what that is?
Yeah, great question. The MSV is the modular scalable vest. It's the new vest that you receive through RFI. 82nd's already been issued. They were the first people to issue out the MSV to the 82nd. With the MSV, you do get issued new ESAPI plates. They will fit the size of the MSV. So say you are a medium MSV, you will receive a medium plate. With this plate, it comes with a shooter's cut. So you could rest that buttstock on the breast pelvic area or the breast area and shoot comfortably instead of having to move that old IOTV out of the way to rest that rifle right there.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
there's another one for you, but I'm going to ask the whole panel to answer this too. What are some new individual equipment that is being issued?
So right now for the soldier protective system, we have the BPP, which is the ballistic pelvic protector. It's going to help block that artery inside the inner leg when there's a gunner in the gunner's hatch. You guys might have seen the motorcycle helmet looking thing. It's called the mandible. It protects from a gunner getting hit with a rock or a brick or something. We also have Army basic combat Army boots that are being issued out to new trainees as well.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything new and exciting coming out of your shop? Come on. You all are sitting back there in PEO up before Belvoir. You have nothing going on in your...
Well, for soldier power, we're increasing the battery life from the current 150 watts to increase that 33%. Our end goal with the CWB is to double the 150 to 300 watt hours. And also we have other battery initiatives called the stub, so we can integrate that with other systems as well.
Ooh. Did you mention the helmet?
The IHEPS, yes, integrated helmet protection system, yes it did.
Okay. All right. All right, good. This is a question here. You may have already touched on this, so forgive me if I'm repeating it. The question is, what are some of the new features of the IHPS helmet? And can you say what the IHPS is, Sergeant Sickles?
Another great question. The integrated helmet protection system is half a pound lighter than your old ACH. It has a high cut above the ears, so you could have access to either a radio or you could put ear protection under it. It stops up to a 7.62 round and gives you that 9mm fragmentation protection. It also has two different types of chin straps, one for a male, one for a female with a hair bun. So she is allowed to put the bun past the back of her chin strap and allow her to be more comfortable while doing training exercises or combat-related operations.
So what do you think of the helmet?
I think it's fantastic. I've been in the Army for 10 years, and I think it's a great improvement compared to the ACH.
Awesome. And Sergeant Wood, you said you had something that integrates with that helmet, or did I misunderstand that?
So how I integrate with the helmet is through EVGB. It's a universal head-mounted system, the UHMA, and that's what the soldiers down here in 82nd have dubbed the Mohawk. So that is what, for EVGB, that's how we integrate with the helmet.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Here's another acronym for you that I'm not sure I know what it is. Is DAC-R in the soldier information, and is it replaced by DAPS? So, anybody?
I don't know what that is.
What is he saying?
I don't.
You have no idea what this is? Don't look at me. I don't know what this is.
Maybe I don't know who wrote it.
Didn't say who wrote
Another
it.
acronym we put on the
Who
list.
wrote, is the person who wrote this question here? Maybe you can come up to the microphone and ask what you're asking. DAC-R, anybody? Don't be scared. Okay. Here's a question. The IVAS program was on, well, nope, never mind. Soren Kaplan, what, if any, efforts are you pursuing to enable Net Warrior interoperability with SOCOM Mission Command and TALK capabilities for joint situational awareness?
Can you repeat the question?
I
And
can.
I may have to defer it over to Net Warrior.
Okay. What, if any, efforts are you pursuing to enable Net Warrior, the TAC ecosystem, interoperability with SOCOM Mission Command and TAC capabilities for joint situational awareness?
So currently with TAC, we have various software platforms depending on what you're using. ATAC for Android platforms, iTAC for iPhone, and then WinTAC for Windows. And that tactical software communicates with itself through the network.
Okay. We'll go through here, make sure we haven't already asked some of these. Sergeant Sykes, okay, I'm gonna jump back on NetWarrior here real quick. How secure is NetWarrior, and how is it serviced? How is it maintained?
So the security of NetWarrior is based off of the network that is provided from the radio and the mobile broadband kit, which can be mounted, either carried or mounted by the soldier or on a vehicle. Currently, it is undefeated, to my knowledge, and unable to be jammed or.
It's unable to be jammed? I didn't hear what you said. Did you say it's unable to be jammed?
At this point, to the best of my knowledge, I have not heard of it being jammed in the battlefield environment.
All right. Sergeant Brown, you touched a little bit, Sergeant Major Brown, I'm sorry, you touched a little bit on synthetic training. Can you elaborate on what a synthetic training environment is?
Okay, so currently the Army has fielded a whole bunch of standalone systems for different training. So they're all built in stovepipes, they're all expensive, and when commanders want to integrate them to get after readiness, it takes a lot of money to build patches and try to connect these systems. So synthetic training environment is based around, it's a software platform, so it consists of the the synthetic training environment information system, a training management tool, which is the interface that users use to build training scenarios, and one world terrain. Currently, we have 57 different variants of terrain used in simulation. So we're going to bring it down to one world terrain for one variant. So when you think of synthetic training environment, think of an Xbox. So you buy the Xbox from the store, and it has the box, and it has some software built into it, and it has which makes you interface with whatever game you're going to put on it, and it has the game engine that runs the game. That's the STIS, the STI information system. Then you have peripherals. Let's say you buy a game that comes with a gun to shoot at your TV. So that's your squad or your soldier virtual trainer. So you have the peripherals that have their own little software that make it interact with the overall Xbox or the STIS. And you, so the point of the STI is also to be able to train at point of need. Right now, a lot of our training devices are tethered to these big facilities. If you've been in an armor organization or a striker organization, your trainers are all in big warehouses. Basically, this will allow you to take your trainers and use them at the point of need. Whether you want to go to a range, a fob, your motor pool, a day room, and to be able to train. EST is always in a big warehouse or in a building by itself. So the replacement, you'll be able to train. You should be able to train at point of need. Also, imagine being able to take a brigade, let's use a striker brigade for instance, have a battalion in the box at a CTC or in a training area, and they're tied into a battalion that's in simulators anywhere in the world. And with the dismounts are on computers, and you have your aviation assets anywhere in the world tied into the same game, the same terrain, fighting the same fight, geographically dispersed from anywhere. So you can do that, you can get at that collective training from anywhere.
Have you gotten any great feedback on that, on how it's working in the field?
So far we've conducted soldier touch points on the live training system as part of the replacement for miles, and there's some products that have been getting good feedback. The indirect fire capability, the shoulder launch munitions capability, the tank Bradley and Stryker simulators that are replacing the current ones. There's been good feedback, And the aviation is still a little bit behind where we want it to be, but overall it's going to be better and less cumbersome than what's currently out there.
Good, thank you. So this is for anybody. If you were allowed to pick up your location for examining your equipment, where would you go? Where would you locate? And what are the advantages and disadvantages? And we can start with you, Sergeant Kaplan.
Can you do me a favor and say that one more time, please?
Sure. If you were allowed to pick up your location for examining your equipment, where would you locate? Advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, I think so. Integration's unique, so we don't really have a thing. But what I can say is that every location is different. Testing equipment in Alaska, for example, and those types of climates, being up north in the cold and all that type of stuff, in terms of maybe thermals, you're going to get a different type of, you're going to get different data than say in like Fort Bliss. So I would say all the training environments have their practical uses, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely. Sergeant Wood, if you could pick your stuff up and go somewhere else and test it and train it, where would you go, and what are the advantages?
That's actually a really good question, because we struggle with that actually quite a bit, because we want to, in my perfect world, if I was going to test it, I want to test it in Arctic conditions, to high north, desert. I want to be able to jungle. I want to be able to test it in everything, because our soldiers are expected to go anywhere and everywhere in the world and fight. So I want to test in that way. We just don't have that luxury. But what we do have the luxury of doing is getting down to the soldier level here at Fort Bragg. We can go up to 10th Mountain. We can go to 101st. We got Fort Benning. We've got everywhere. Up in Alaska is a great place to be. Out in Hawaii, we've got the environments within DoD, within all of it. So we try to go everywhere. We get as many touch points as we can. We've got RGTs, the reliability growth testing, which is like the operational test and evaluations that we do with the soldiers. So we try to take it everywhere we can and stress the systems in operationally relevant environments, so that we try and take it everywhere we can.
Well, I can imagine in extreme cold weather in Alaska versus extreme heat out in the Mojave Desert, you'd have two different reactions, I suppose.
You do. You find out that your battery consumption, being here at Fort Bragg is one thing, but taking it up to 10th Mountain in the winter, up to Fort Drum, you're going to be sucking your battery life out of all your equipment. So like there's things like that we have to understand that now, and then when we have to understand it on the program level, we've got to understand that with our industry partners to understand, is that something that can be fixed? Is it the equipment? Is it the batteries? What are we doing? And then understanding the type of batteries that we're using in these environments.
Well, you mentioned batteries.
Yes, sir. So to help
for your system, what's the battery life in Alaska?
So to help that, to defeat the environmental considerations, the CWB actually has a built-in heater to help reduce that battery degradation.
Who packs the heater?
It's internal.
Oh, okay.
Placed there by the manufacturer.
So what's the weight of that? Does it get carried or is it towed?
The battery itself weighs about 2.7 pounds. The soldier carries 3 of them within their 72-hour mission planning loadout. And then all your charge and recharge systems would be at your
on the trooper's back.
Post. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to talk about their programs and where would you take them to if you could test them anywhere else?
So I just got back from the rapid fielding we had overseas with the training event with the soldiers that were going to Europe, deploying there with the 173rd and all those guys that are out there. So it was very good to see them put the equipment on, test it out, and then get their feedback.
Good.
No, just like Sergeant Wood said, we try to get to all the different areas and climates to do all the testing, so to give it a more reliable weapon. Yeah.
Good. Okay. This is for the PMSL, so soldier lethality guy. So will NGSW only be issued to the close combat force or sustainment units too? If not, is there a plan to increase soldier lethality with M4A1s?
As of right now, the next generation weapons, squad weapon, AR, and rifle, along with fire control, is just going to be to your close combat force, your 11 Bravos, 19 Deltas, and
hey, a cook has to protect themselves too.
They do, and they got the M4s right now, and that's just the plan as of right now. At a later date, it could shift and get everybody the weapon, but as of right now.
So what you're telling all the sustainment world is that you don't get the neat toys, you get what we're going to replace.
We will upgrade whatever they have right now.
Just say it. That's what you're saying. Sustainment world, you get, the combat arms guys get all the neat toys, and us sustainers, we just get what's left.
Yeah, understand. It's not my call.
You know, I'm a 92 golf by trade, so I got to give you a little hard time about, you know, not forgetting about the sustainment units too. So for the good captain that asked this question about sustainment, folks, good on you.
So Troy, I think it's across the board with all programs, and expectation management is very important because money matters.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I understand the life of every soldier is important, the training of every soldier, but I wish every soldier can have the best of everything, but the dollar matters, and there's only a limited amount of dollars.
Yeah, I just had to give him a hard time, Sergeant Major. I had to do it. How does IVAS make the soldier and squad more lethal?
We might need to capture that question and.
Yep, I apologize. You told me about that one already. We can't answer any questions on IVAS. Yep. Okay. So Sergeant Wood, I think you might have touched on this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How does the FWS1 enhance the soldier's lethality? Did you already talk about that?
Yeah, we did. I mean, I can kind of elaborate a little bit more with it, but we've talked about it. The FWS.
Okay, I thought you had, but maybe this person would like you to elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I can. The family and weapon sight individual, I think actually needs to be talked about because right now it can be a standalone optic on our weapons, on the M4 and SAW that we have right now. And with its RTA capabilities with EMBGB, it combined together. What we saw in the video, like everybody talks about, I can take my weapon and go around a corner, like RTA, I can do that. So it has that capability, not just around corners and stuff like that, but I could be in an OP, fighting position. I could set a SAW up and then one avenue of approach and keep situational awareness on that side, and then through my goggles, I could be watching a whole nother side. So it brings a lot of situational awareness and lethality to the fight.
So that around the corner, is that off a pad or is that off a goggle?
Right through the goggle. The EVGB will pump that right through. And the great thing about the FWSI is if I'm an M4 gunner, I can pump an M4 reticle that I would normally be seeing in a standalone, I can see in my goggle. If I'm a SAW gunner, right now I can see my SAW reticle, my SAW tree in the EVGB.
Awesome. So, Master Sergeant Salcedo, I think you might have hit on this, but maybe you might want to elaborate a little bit more. What is currently going on with the next, we already asked you, we talked about this, right? The next gen program. Maybe, can you elaborate a little bit more on what's going on with that?
So what's going on with the program, or what?
Yeah, what's going on with it?
Well, it was protested by Lone Star, and Lone Star retracted their protest as of July 1st. We are working, 6 Hour is working with Army to develop a fielding plan right now. So that's about where we're at right now.
Okay. Sergeant Major Brown, can you talk about how PEO STRI interfaces with PEO Soldier when it comes to combining like the synthetic world into their world? Can you talk about that?
So PEO STRI owns the Squad Immersive Virtual Trainer, which is the training portion that's embedded into the IVAS. And if you watch the video up front, that was when they were going through the shoot house and the SIF, the augmented reality that's pumped in with the weapons trackers and the weapon drop-in kits for your weapon and the AAR capability.
Okay, and Master Sergeant Salcedo, can you talk about what you do with STRI?
What I do with Stride, I can't recall.
Eventually, when the
if
next
you don't have
gen,
anything
when
to
the
say,
next
that's
gen
okay.
squad weapons are fielded, and we're creating the virtual trainers for to replace the EST, we're going to have to incorporate those weapons because the .40 mandates that you'll go through simulation tables before you qualify your weapon system. That's one way we'll integrate, or he'll work with us as well.
Okay, good. Well, panel, I'm going to give you an opportunity to have a couple of minutes to close out. This has been great. Thank you for your time and all the information you put on some great individual equipment coming up. So, Sergeant Major Brown, I'm going to start with you for any last comments you might have.
No, I appreciate the invitation to do this, but if you have the opportunity to have soldiers participate in, or you participate in a soldier touch point for any new piece of equipment or modernization effort that the Army is developing, prototyping, or fielding, please, I've been a leader at brigade level and at all levels, and don't treat it as a detail. Treat it as a training opportunity. Okay, so you can work with the people that are with the PEO or the test community and figure out your training objectives to go along with it. But it's your opportunity and your soldiers' opportunity to have a say-so in what goes in their hands in the future, what gets fielded to their soldiers to increase their readiness in the future. So don't treat it as a detail, or pick your last guy, the guy that try to pick your best people for this. And I know it's hard, but you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. And you don't want, you're going to get a piece of equipment, that next gen squad weapon, you're not going to get another one in 2 years. That's going to be the weapon for the next 20 years. So please put your best people at it.
No, and I agree with you, Sergeant Major. We had a soldier's touch points. You want the soldier to give you the valid feedback and all this. We used 1,000 soldiers, male and female, with over 20,000 man hours to put the feedback into this weapon. It was just great to have soldiers that had buy-in in this. Yeah.
Thank you again for the invitation to be here, and I can't caveat enough Sergeant Major Brown's words to just have the best people there to conduct this training so we can get the feedback necessary, because it's ultimately what's important.
Great. Any last comments?
I just really want to say thank you to the teammates up here and the team at PEO. I really appreciate everything, and thank you guys for your service.
All right. Wood?
I guess the only thing I would have as a closing comment is the equipment that I, personally do with my team at PEO Soldier is really advanced, and there's a lot of technology that goes into it, and the buy-in from the soldier at the end of the day really helps drive the narrative for what we do here at PEO Soldier. The goggles are getting more advanced. We're getting dual tube white phos goggles. We've got night vision device next coming with the I-squared white phosphorus goggles that are coming for the support soldiers. So the buy-in on the soldiers and driving that from the bottom up, and the leadership taking that and driving it up the chain to get it to us, so we can absolutely get the best equipment for the soldier. I can't stress that enough. I appreciate it.
Sergeant Kaplan.
Yeah, thank you everybody for having us out here. A couple things to add, that there is a team of soldiers and civilians that are working through integration efforts at the Army level, and also take a look at the Soldier Enhancement Program. If you have a good idea, anybody can access it. Industry, soldiers. It's actually one of my goals while I'm in PEO Soldiers, to get something through the Soldier Enhancement Program, just to say that I did, so I can communicate with soldiers. But thank you very much.
Cool. Let's give our panel a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.
All right, folks, the panel members will be around afterwards for a little while, so if you have any other questions, feel free to go up and ask them directly. We've had a great start to day 2 of the AUSA Warfighter Summit and Exposition. We are going to take a break now. We will have a networking reception in the exhibit hall until 12:30. So please make sure that you are back here in the session at 12:30 for CMF panel number 5, Innovation at the Edge. Thank you.